Good morning, students. Happy Wednesday. Today for our coding lesson, we're again going to use the website code.org. That's spelled C-O-D-E.org. From the website, we're going to go up to the top left corner and find the word Learn and click on that link. On the next page, we're going to go down to where it says Grades K to 5. Click in the gray Learn More box. And for today's lesson, we're going to be again using Course A. Click on Course A. And our activity for today is going to be Lesson 5, Programming with Scrat. We're going to click on the number 1, and we're going to watch our introduction video to programming with Scrat. In this video, we're going to learn about pair programming.
Today, we're going to learn about pair programming. In pair programming, you work as a team.
Why should two people use one computer?
Why should two people use one computer? Because two heads are better than one. We work together in an interesting kind of way.
Because we're interesting people.
We are interesting people.
In pair programming, you and your partner are going to sit down together at one computer and you are both going to work on the same project.
Right now, we're working on code monsters. Oh no, a fire monster. We don't have enough time. I'm sorry. We'll get to it later. In pair programming, one person is the driver and the other person is the navigator.
Just like driving a car. Your choice, driver or navigator?
Driver. The driver sits at the computer and is the one using the keyboard, mouse, or touchscreen and controlling the main actions of the computer. I'm setting all the arrows so that they make the character move in the direction he's trying to move.
And the other person is the navigator. The navigator helps the driver by answering the driver's questions and pointing out potential problems or mistakes. Go left, and instead of righty-tighty, go right. Communication is key to a successful pair programming.
No insults. Be respectful. Don't be a bossy navigator, because nobody likes a backseat driver.
Here, why can't you do this?
Wait. Hey, stop that. Give it back.
Wait,
That's not nice. Give it back.
Just one thing.
Communication is key to successful pair programming. You can't say something after.
You and your partner should always be talking. Okay, so there's the cat.
The driver can explain what she or he is doing. Do you think it would ruin it to type something extra? And the navigator can help suggest what to do next.
Can you write a program that makes the dog move to the target? The navigator should be thinking about the big picture.
And the driver focuses on the details.
Both roles are important. Want to switch?
Okay.
I'm the driver now. Be sure to switch roles often.
Okay. Wait a second. Why isn't this working?
You need to attach it up there. Look, there's a hole.
Did you see how my partner helped me figure out the puzzle on fewer tries? She caught my mistake.
Yeah, good job.
Pair programming is all about working together
As a team.
That was a helpful video to introduce us to pair programming. We're going to go ahead and click on Level 2, and we're going to start our code. Let's read our instructions here for Puzzle 2. Here in Puzzle 2, it asks us to play with the blocks to see what we can make Scrat do. Let's get Scrat to the acorn to complete the level. Over in our play space, we see Scrat and the acorn. Let's count how many blocks he needs to go. I counted 3. How about you? We're going to go ahead and click and drag over 3 down arrows that have the letter S that stands for south. Once we drag over our blocks, we're going to click Run and see if our program works. Let's click on the orange Continue arrow and move on to Puzzle 3. Here on this puzzle, Our instructions are telling us to use 2 movement blocks to get Scrat to the acorn. Over in our play space, we see Scrat and the acorn. After looking at our arrows, we're going to drag over 2 right arrows that have the letter E. Those stand for east. We'll connect our blocks and click run. Good job, everyone. Let's click our continue arrow and move on to puzzle 4. This puzzle gets a little tricky. We see Scrat and our acorn. We're going to click on the light bulb and get a little hint. It says if we get stuck, we can draw a path on our paper. There's 2 ways that we can get Scrat to the acorn. We're going to choose the path going right and down. We'll hit run, and Scrat gets his acorn. Great job. Now we're going to see if we can figure out the other way. When we hit reset, we also could have used a down and then a right arrow as well. Now when we hit run, we'll see that Scrat still gets his acorn going the other path. That's an important puzzle. Sometimes we have different ways to code that gets us to the same spot. Here in puzzle 5, again, we have Scrat, and we're trying to get to the acorn. Let's click on our light bulb for a hint. Our instructions tell us that our code should have 3 blocks. Our next hint tells us there's 2 different ways that we can solve this puzzle. We can go up and across, or across and up. We're going to go the upper route. We're going to drag over 1 up arrow and 2 right arrows. Then when we hit run, we see our code is working, and Scrat gets to his acorn. If we wanted to use the other path, when we hit reset, we also can get to the acorn this way, using 2 right arrows and then an up. When we hit run, even though we're going a different path, Scrat still gets to his acorn. Halfway through, you guys are doing great. Let's hit continue. Now we're going to watch another video. In this video, we're going to learn about debugging. Debugging is when you find a problem within your program code and you take it away so that your code runs correctly. Let's watch a video about it.
All computer scientists, no matter how experienced they are, run into errors that they need to fix. This is where debugging comes in. Debugging is just a word that means finding and fixing errors in a program, and the first step towards fixing errors is to find them. Most puzzles have a step button below the play space that you can use to hunt for problems. If your program doesn't work, press the step button and see what happens. Does the character take action in the right way? If everything looks good with the first block of code, press the step button again. How does everything look? Is it still running right? Keep going through your code line by line until you find the first place where things go wrong. What happened? What was supposed to happen? What does that tell you? In this puzzle, I get to the last line of code and don't reach the goal. What happened? I got to the end of my code without solving the puzzle. What was supposed to happen? I need to go forward one more step. What does that tell me? It tells me I need to drag out one more of these blocks and attach it to the end before I click Run. Ta-da! That's how you debug a program.
Our next few puzzles, we're going to try to debug some code. Let's click Continue, and we're going to move on to Puzzle 7. Here, our instructions tell us, figure out what is missing from the code and add blocks to get Scrat to the acorn. When we look at our code, we see that we have 3 right arrows, 1, 2, 3, and 1 up arrow. Which block do we need to finish our code? We're going to bring over 1 more up arrow. We're going to reset our program and then hit Run. And now when we follow our code, you can see that Scrat gets to his acorn. Good job debugging that program, everyone. Now let's click on the orange Continue arrow, move on to Puzzle 8. Here, our instructions ask us, what do you need to do to get Scrat to the acorn? When we look at our path, we can trace the path for Scrat to get to the acorn. We're going to count our blocks and bring over 3 right E arrows. Remember, E stands for east. And then we're going to bring down 1 down arrow, and we're going to use our step button to test our code out. You can see Scrat goes over 3 times and down 1. Excellent job. Alright, great, a challenge puzzle. These are designed to stretch our brains. Let's see how we do. Here our instructions tell us we need to move around the broken ice to get Scrat to the acorn. When we see our path in front of us, there's 1 broken ice block. We need to go around it to get to the acorn. We can see there's 2 different paths we can take. We're going to go the upper route. We're going to bring over 1 up arrow and 3 left arrows. We're going to use our step to test out our program so far. So far, so good. From here, we're going to bring down 1 down arrow and 1 more left. That should finish our code and get Scrat to the acorn. As we follow our code, we can see that Scrat gets to his food. Awesome job. Try the puzzle again using the other route. Here our instructions tell us to fix the bug to get Scrat to the acorn. Our code goes up and right. If we see in our workspace that that's not the correct direction. We're going to bring over 1 left. We're going to get rid of the right arrow because we don't need it. And now we're going to bring back over the up arrow. Now our code will go left and up. Great job, guys. 2 more puzzles. Let's finish strong. Here in Puzzle 11, we get no hints. We're going to have to figure this one out on our own. Let's count our blocks. I counted 3 left arrows. And to finish our code, we're going to need one up arrow. When we hit run, we see that our code works great. Let's move on to our last puzzle. Here in our play space, we see a much larger grid of ice blocks. Our instructions are telling us to get there any way we can. You can see there's many different ways we can get scrap to the acorn. First, we're going to count our blocks. We're going to go the bottom route. I counted 4 left arrows. We'll hit run to try out our program so far. We're halfway there. Now let's count the rest of our blocks. I counted 4 up arrows. You can see our code's getting kind of long. Now when we hit run, our code goes left 4 times and then up 4 times. And Scrat gets to his acorn. Great job, guys. We have completed programming with Scrat. You did really well today and learning about debugging. In our next lesson, we'll continue with the next stage in Course A. Please use this video if you get stuck doing the puzzles by yourself. Thanks for following along. We'll see you tomorrow. Keep coding.